How to teach a dog to bow. A fun and impressive trick you can teach your dog is how to bow. If your dog isn't already familiar with some basic skills, such as sitting and lying down at your command, teach your dog to follow these commands first. Once they get foundational training, teach your pup how to take a bow. It's an amazing trick that is sure to be a crowd pleaser. Method 1. Doing foundational training. Use reward-based training so that your dog has fun learning. While you might have heard that dominating your dog makes it learn, this is actually counterproductive. Teach your dog that they will receive a reward when it completes an action. This shows the dog that training sessions can be fun. Plus, it gives your dog self-confidence because it focuses on what your dog does right, not what it's doing wrong. For instance, you might give your dog a treat or lots of pets when it performs the correct behavior. When it doesn't respond correctly, don't try to punish it. Over time, your dog will learn to do the desired behavior to get a reward. Take your dog to a private location where it won't be distracted. When teaching a dog, it's best to do it somewhere without a lot of noise, other people, or other pets. A private yard is a great place to do your training. However, if you can find a quiet corner of your local park, that can work too. Distractions can be especially hard when trying to train a puppy. If your dog is very young, be sure that you go to a quiet place for training. Pick a spot that your dog is used to. The sights and smells of a new location may be too exciting for the dog to concentrate on your commands. Start obedience training to teach your dog to respond to verbal cues. If your dog doesn't know its name or how to stop a behavior when you say, "No," start teaching it these commands. To teach your dog to understand the word, "No," or, "Leave it," hold a treat in each hand. Close your fist around the treat and show it to your pooch. When your dog tries to get the treat, say, "No," or, "Leave it." When they stop trying to get what's inside your hand, reward them with the treat from your other hand. Keep repeating this exercise until they consistently respond correctly when you say the command in various situations. Practicing these basic skills will be the foundation of more advanced skills, like bowing. Once your dog understands the connection between a command, an action, and a treat, you can use that to teach it a wide variety of actions. Practice the come, sit, and lie down commands. Once your dog responds to its name and the command, "No," you can teach them other skills. This training starts by saying a verbal cue when the dog does an action naturally and then giving the dog a treat and praise. For example, when taking your dog for a walk, say the word, "Sit," just as your dog naturally begins to sit. After the dog sits completely down, give it a treat and verbal praise. When done repeatedly, the dog will learn that when you say, "Sit," and it sits down, it will get a treat. Teaching your dog to sit, lie down, and to come will give it skills that you can build on to get it to bow. Use clicker training to build up to advanced skills and tricks. Clicker training uses a specific clicker tool to help communicate with your dog. To use it, when the dog does the action you've asked it to do correctly, you click the clicker right away to tell the dog that they have done the right thing, then reward them with a treat. With consistent use of the clicker, your dog will be able to learn more skills faster, including how to bow, because it will be confident with knowing that it is responding correctly to your commands. Clicker training is great for those who want to do extensive training with their dog. If you just want to do a bit of training for fun, committing to clicker training may not make sense for you and your dog. Method 2. Getting your dog to bow on command. Position your dog facing you about 2 feet, 0.61 meters, away. Bring your dog to the spot where you want it to stay and then tell it to stay there. Once you think your dog is comfortable and willing to stay put, walk to your position away from it. While moving into your position, continue to make eye contact. This will help your dog know that it needs to stay put. Hold a treat or toy to entice your dog to pay attention to the training. Lift up the treat so that your dog can see it but can't reach it. Don't let your dog eat the treat yet. If necessary, wave the treat a little to be sure that your dog is paying attention. You can use a wide variety of treats and toys to help your dog pay attention. However, many people use small training treats, which are sold at most pet stores, because dogs typically love them and they don't contain too many calories. Keep in mind that some dogs aren't motivated by food. If your dog doesn't perform for treats, try other types of rewards. For instance, offer it a favorite toy or lots of pets. Try different rewards until you find your dog's must-have reward. Move the treat down toward the ground slowly. Move your arm slowly, making sure that your dog is following it with its eyes. Your dog should lower its head to keep its eyes on the treat. If your dog starts to move toward you or out of position at all, put the treat behind your back and say, "No," or "Stay." Praise and pet your dog immediately after it lowers its head. Once your dog's head is near the ground, give verbal praise, such as saying, "Good dog." Then, go to your dog, pet it, and let it have the treat. Once your dog eats the treat, take out another one to get the dog ready for more practice. If you're using a clicker, click it as soon as your dog lowers its head. This will tell the dog that lowering its head was what you wanted it to do. Repeat the exercise a few times to get your dog used to the movement. This will show the dog that it will reliably receive a reward if it lowers its head on your command. Don't worry if your dog stands up right away after the reward. It will learn to associate the treat, and the click if you are using one, with the movement after repetition. Move the treat closer and closer to the ground as you practice. Moving the treat will entice your dog to lower its head and the front of its body. Over time, you can get the dog to bend so much that it looks like a bow. If your dog starts lying down to get the treat, you may have progressed too quickly. Method 3. Practicing and developing your dog's new skill. Hold your dog's belly up if it tries to lay all the way down. In many cases, the dog will try to start lying down as you lower the treat down. To communicate clearly that you want its hind end up, simply put your hand on the underside of the belly and apply slight pressure up. Hold the treat in one hand and the dog's belly with the other hand. In most cases, you won't need to lift the dog's weight to get it to lift its rear end. Instead, pressure on the underside of the belly will make the dog lift up instinctively. Add a verbal cue to signal to the dog that it should bow. Say your dog's name and then add an appropriate phrase, such as, "Bow." Say the word as you show the dog the treat and it gets into the correct position. Then, reward your pup with a treat and praise. Adding a verbal cue allows you to transition from giving a treat every time to simply saying a phrase to get your dog to bow. If you're using a clicker, remember to click it when your dog lowers its head or the front of its body. 2. Delay the treat to get your dog to respond to the verbal cue more reliably. Repeat the trick until your dog bows every time you give a verbal command with a treat. Once they respond reliably, continue giving the verbal cue and moving your hand to the ground. However, don't keep a treat in the hand you're lowering to the ground. Instead, show the dog that your hand is empty and give the dog a treat with your other hand. 16. This will keep the dog responding to your command but will eventually allow you to stand away from it while getting it to bow. Give praise and treats when your dog bows on your verbal command. After several training sessions, try giving the "bow" command without moving your hand to signal. Give your dog lots of praise and a treat every time it successfully follows your command. You can use the praise and treat method to reward natural bows every time that you see them, provided you associate the praise with the word "bow," or whatever word you wish to use. Don't forget like and subscribe my channel and click on bell button for more videos.